Just win, baby.
It is your boy Raider Rob, and you now tune in to Raider Nation Central. It was number one stop, baby, for everything Raiders. All right, in-game analysis, post-game analysis, pre-game analysis, anything you want, we want to talk about. We're going to do it here on Raider Nation Central. So first and foremost, I want to thank you guys for tuning in to the channel. If you got time right now, hit that like button, hit that subscribe to the channel. I'm dropping content. We're going to bring you everything Raiders, all right? We got a lot to talk about. I don't want to keep you guys long. I want to make sure that I get through everything that I want to talk about through this rough Monday, guys. First and foremost, shout out to all the Raider fans that came and supported. Shout out to everybody that was able to go to the game in SoFi. I wasn't able to. I'm here in Kansas City, so I wasn't able to, but I did watch it live. I usually don't get to watch the games live all the way through, so I always used to go back and used to just rewatch them, kind of see what points that I could find out from them that can use for later, right? So, what are we going to talk about today with the Raiders? Well, there's a lot going on, man. I had a lot of notes that I took yesterday, and I mean, it was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot that I would say, first quarter, I'll put it to you like this. First quarter, the defense played good. And they had a good touchdown from Minshew to Madison. And after that, it kind of got a little squirrely. So first thing I want to do is I want to take a look at the stat line and see how we fared up against other teams, okay, against the Chargers. So as you can see, the Chargers scored 13 points in the fourth. Um, they scored basically they scored 2 touchdowns in the fourth. They also scored 3 points a quarter. We scored 7 in the first, none in the second, none in the third, and we kicked the field goal in the fourth. Uh, that 22-10 looks a little squirrely because it was actually 16-10, and J.K. Dobbins took off for a nice long run to give them that 22. And then they tried to go for 2, and I believe they ran it with Gus Edwards, and he was unsuccessful with getting that 2-point conversion. So looking at the overall team stats, let's just look at it here. So when I look at these team stats, I'm looking at the Chargers had total yards of 316. The Rays had 296. The passing yards, the Chargers had 140. The Raiders were sitting at 225. The rushing yards at 176. The Raiders at 71. They were averaging almost 6 yards per play. The Raiders were averaging 5. We, as far as first downs, third down conversions, total plays, um, penalty yards, we controlled all of that. Even time of possession, our 31 minutes to their 28 that's fine for me. We did, as I can see, we controlled the time of possession. What really got me was the turnovers, was the 2 fumbles and the interceptions thrown. Those key components right there is what turned the tide for the game. It gave the Chargers a short field to work with. They were able to be successful and not come out with any points. I think that they should have scored touchdowns, but they couldn't because the Raiders defense was playing really well. When I go look at the stats for Justin Herbert, he had 144 yards passing. J.K. Dobbins had 10 carries for 135. That tells me right there he broke off for seemed like a couple big runs, which he did. But the receivings, they had no receiver over 40 yards receiving. So the Raiders defense played really well yesterday. I will say that um, this score doesn't say really how the game went, but it also does say where we lacked it. As far as after the first quarter, it really was nothing else to really talk about from the offensive side of the team. Madison really took the time to started off with that good run, and I believe they gave Madison that opportunity back. And it wasn't much that was getting done with that, right? So we had to make sure that we had to establish ourselves on the offensive side of the ball, which we did not. There's a lot of talk and a lot of speculation that we need to get fired Getsy. AP done lost his luster. Gardner Minshew throwing Aiden O'Connell, and I will say from the people that are fans and that are just avid fans that don't really look at the totality as how NFL football is played, that's not something you want to do. You don't want to take your players and just start throwing them in week one. Like, calm down, guys. It's a lot. I understand everybody's a little irritated today because we lost that game. That's a game that we should have won. And when I look at it and I went back and I looked at the stats, I said, these are fixable problems. Um, a lot of people didn't like some of Pierce's um, stances that he did on certain game situations. I'll talk about that a little bit later. What I first want to get through is just understanding the fact of the offensive side as far as what I've seen. I will say that Gardner Minshew is a serviceable quarterback. Is he the franchise guy? No, he is not. I have stood by and I said that if Gardner Minshew outplayed Aiden O'Connell to even get the starting position for the Raiders will be actively looking for his replacement within the next year or two. That now puts Aiden O'Connell at a backup role. That's fine. Okay. If you're a Raiders fan, you already know you weren't sold on either one of these guys anyway. What I will do and what I will say is this is that we have to understand that the Raiders are in a process. Okay. I know people want that, if you were expecting the Raiders to go 13-3, I was not 13-3, 14-3 because it's 17 games, 14-3 or 16-1, 15-2. I don't know what kind of Raiders fan you are. Okay. Yeah, that would be nice to do that. That would be something that we should strive for is to get those type of wins, right? But right now we have to build this team. Okay. We have to lose. We're going to lose tough games that we should have won. We've seen it as Raiders. We'll go and be leading, and then we'll end up losing the game. This game seemed like it was never in our grasp, but it was ours for the taking. Seemed like the Chargers were able just to stay a little bit ahead of us, and that's just because I think that they stuck with the run. They made sure to keep establishing that run, keep chomping at the Raiders about that, and over time, the Raiders were bending, but they weren't breaking. They were having to kick field goals. They had to settle for 3 field goals in the red zone. Okay, so us as an offensive unit has to stay focused on what we are the task that we're at hand. Could it be a Getsy thing? Possibly. Okay. I wouldn't be able to know. I wouldn't be able to understand that until we get really down the line as far as body of work. Okay. Getsy is going to have an opportunity to prove himself here in the next few weeks. And if he can kind of change the tide, I think the Raiders will be all right. They showed some good signs yesterday. Like I said, the running game looked like it was going to be picked up, but we got stalled out at a few points in the game. Um, the receiving options. One of the receiving options that I like is Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers, they ran out there with 13 personnel. If you don't know familiar with that, that's 3 tight ends, 1 wide. They really were effectively trying to figure out how they can use that. Brock Bowers and Mayer really kind of made some key catches. Jacoby Myers as well. Devontae, he's always going to be open. I just think that Gardner Minshew as well with Tay, that relationship has to grow because I know they didn't have a lot of time in training camp to kind of get acclimated to each other. I feel that that's something else as well. This is their first game of them all together getting game action, and we saw that. We saw a lot of inconsistencies on that side. When I look at the defensive side played awesome, even though we are down, arguably two edge rushers. Malcolm Kuntz is out 4 games on IR, and I haven't got full word yet about Tyree Wilson, but I know he suffered a knee injury yesterday. Don't quote me, but I believe in the second quarter. But we still play good. Charles Snowden, I believe, that came and replaced on that side. He played okay. They did okay. But defensively, Spillane, the cornerbacks, Bennett, Jones, Moreg, Epps, these guys played really good football. And we're just gonna have to kind of keep building off of that. I did like what someone I heard yesterday say. They said that the Raiders offense doesn't play with the same type of energy as the defense. And I totally agree with that. I think that we have to find some way to generate that type of offensive nastiness that we need. And granted, we had some guys out, but still, they never seemed like they controlled the line of scrimmage. I believe they let the Chargers control the line of scrimmage, let them get in their face and get after them, and it allowed Minshew to kind of have to break out before they let things develop. Minshew had a few cases to where he looked down the field, nothing was open, he's running. Well, when you go back and look at some of the film, and Tay was open on a couple of them. It's just being able to stand tall in that pocket and deliver the ball. But some of those plays, man, I mean, there was just guys right in his face. Nothing he could do. He tried to scramble on a few plays, make something happen, uh, and was unfortunate to not make some of the plays happen. But the key fourth down play that I think everybody is kind of harping on was something that I don't know. I don't really understand. I'll say I don't really understand why people are so harped on it and they're questioning Antonio Pierce's ability to be a head coach. And what that was, it was fourth down, and I believe 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Antonio Pierce decides to punt. All right. And when he decided to punt, it raised an uproar with Raiders because they said, we should go for that right now. We got the momentum on our side. Do we? Because they literally had 4 downs to try and get 3 downs to try and get a yard. Didn't get it. Okay. Even when they did get the momentum going, they fumbled. I believe, and this is you can blame AP, you can blame Getsy, you can blame whoever. But at that point, I would not say that I believe AP made the right decision. I will say he made a decision based off of this. I feel my defense could stop them in 3 downs in my offense being able to get 1 yard, a long yard at that. And that's a problem. And I know it's a problem for Antonio Pierce because he doesn't want to do that. He wants to be able to trust the fact we're going to run the ball, go for it, punch it in there, let's go. Right. And him believing in his defense more is what he should be. The guy's a defensive minded coach. He has Pat Graham that him and Pat Graham are joined at the hip when they talk about this defense. And they played like it. They played really lights out. This defense should be still top 10 by the end of the year. The offense is going to need some cosmetic surgery. All right. They really played very well. The defense played very well. The offense just struggled. And that fourth down play, like I said, that everyone is upset about. I get it. Antonio Pierce should have went for it. You've been fine had they went for it and I got it. So you got to live with that. And I know for a lot of Raiders fans, that's what they want to see. And I do too. But I do understand in that regard that he felt that my defense will stop him and we'll get back down there. It just wasn't able to happen because why? They kept chipping at the runs. They were able to hit certain passes to kind of move the chains. The Chargers were able to hit passes to keep the chains moving. And overall, the Raiders ended up giving up points on that drive. Unfortunate, very unfortunate for us, but it's kind of what you got to live with right now. I'm pretty sure that Antonio Pierce is going to go back, look at the film, look at tape, and see where he can get better. That's the one thing about it is we have to get better in these instances and don't cry wolf about what we don't like. You know, everyone, it seems like everyone's all about talking about the problems and not figuring out solutions, right? That's not football is not about just crying about problems. The best coaching staffs and the best organizations find solutions. All right. As much as I know people want to be upset and just rant and rave and burn everything down. Calm down, relax. It's game one. And I know it was the first game of the season. Everybody's excited. Man, I was excited. This was a game I had the Raiders winning. Okay. I had the Raiders going 10-7. If you haven't looked at my last video, my predictions and my power rankings, please go check that out. Go look at go right to the middle. I'll show you my wins and losses and where I have the Raiders at finishing at this season was at 10-7. And my reasoning why. Um, but yeah, you know, I just know there's a lot of people that's kind of down that the Raiders did not win, and that's okay. You know, I know we're not going to win them all, but I also know that this is a game that we have to take and put in our memory bank and remember it because this was a game we could have won. We just have to make the right plays when needed. Okay. We have to be effective on the ground. That is very imperative for Gardner Minshew. I want to make that very clear. In order for Gardner Minshew to be the effective quarterback he can be, the Raiders have to run the football effectively. Okay. Whether it's with Zamir, Alexander Masson, I don't know about Amir Abdullah, but Tyler Labe. Sorry if I screwed your name up. The rookie, which I believe he was out as well. We have to run the ball. That's going to open up a lot for Tay because there a lot of teams that probably aren't going to sit in a one-on-one with and leave Tay by himself. He's going to see double. He's going to usually see double coverage, sometimes triple, if even that. But that's why we have the Jacoby Myers, the Brock Bowers, the Michael Myers, Trey Tucker. You know, Trey Tucker's ability to kind of stretch the field will open a lot of this up. You know, I think that Getsy has a lot of work to do. And I'm hoping this week he's really getting a lot of work in to try and understand how he can game plan some up because we have a tough game coming up on the road again going to Baltimore. And they're pissed off, right? They just lost by a toenail to send that game in overtime against the Chiefs. They're going to be ready to rock and roll, and they are going to commit to the run. All right, they are going to heavily commit to the run. They're going to try and disrupt everything the Raiders are going to do on the offensive side because that defense is going to be trying to play worldly out of their mind as well. So this is going to be a tough game coming up, but I'll preview that game later on this week. But hey, I want to take my time and say my piece about a lot of things. Tell me what you guys think. Do you think it's time for the Raiders to blow things up? Do you think that they'll be all right? You know, tell me what you think. You think we need to make a quarterback change? Do we need to get rid of coordinator? Hey, let me know. All right. Again, guys, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you coming checking out the channel. Be on the lookout for me. Um, I will be dropping content weekly. I also have my other channel where we talk fantasy sports. That link will be down at the bottom. Click the link at the bottom. I also have my brother's channel, which is Branch Huddle. We'll be doing content over there as well. We're just trying to give you guys as much content. We're going to be giving picks for fantasy picks. We're also going to be giving daily pick six, what we're going for the games. If you're not following me on Instagram, please follow me on Instagram. If you're not following me on Twitter, please follow me on Twitter. Going to have a lot of good content I'm bringing you guys. Going to be working on getting some of these interviews locked in so I can bring you more good content out the way. But with that being said, hey, man, I appreciate you guys. Listen, just hold tight with us. Let's see how this goes. in its totality and then figure out where we go from there. All right. So once again, this is your boy Raider Rob with Raider Nation Central, and I'm out of here. See you when I see you. All right.